Did you say inherited Boko Haram or did you inherit banditry? Daniel Bola asks Festus Keyamo. The presidential campaign spokesperson of the Atiku Okowa 2023 campaign, Daniel Bola, while reacting to the series of questions posed to him by journalists on Trust TV Politics Daily, said that if Buhari government said they inherited Boko Haram, what about banditry? Bola said. Well, when I talk, I quote them. I don't talk about what we say, I'm talking about what they say. The president of Nigeria recently said that he is fed up because he has given all the logistics and the finances that the security agencies need to fight these insurgents, and he wonders why they cannot bring the results. Do you remember after the jailbreak, he appeared in Kuje and said, I am disappointed with the intelligence. Nobody paid for it. When they threatened they were going to abduct him, you would have thought that the government would take decisive steps to end this. And so all we're saying is that excuses of we inherited this, we inherited that will not work because you did not inherit banditry. If you say you inherited Boko Haram, then and look at the Niger Delta, they have failed in their promises of security. They have failed woefully in their promises to the economy. And you only need to see the statistics and the facts. And they have also failed in the fight against corruption. You haven't asked me. Well, let me just close by telling you that just even today, the final report on EFCC said that about 114 or so billion fraud cases were abandoned by the former chair, and I think about 40-something billion, again, could not be remitted. Okay, I mean, again, he's stating facts, but we also have to understand that, he is from the opposition party. And when APC were in power, or when they were contesting in 2015, they used the same stats of the PDP in government against them. So it's literally they just have the upper hand because now they have not been in power for 8 years. And so they do have a bulk of content, a bulk of stories, a bulk of allegations, a bulk of investigations, a bulk of arrests, a bulk of killings, so many things. Corruption is not, you can't even measure it at this point, but they do have the upper hand. And the fact that, every opposition party that is not the APC has the upper hand to question the APC on how is it going to defend itself. And really, the APC should just put his head in shame and just not even context, to be honest, because really, how can you defend yourself against all atrocities you've committed, your negligence, your corruption, your lack of proactiveness, unaccountable funds and transactions, excuses upon excuses, a massacre of people, kidnap of students, paying of bandits, calling repentant Boko Haram insurgents and reintegrating them back into society. So how would you, if they try to defend themselves, what they're really going to do is spit on Nigerians' faces, because you'd literally think, excuse me, the absolute disrespect. They cannot defend anything. And if they're going to come with some foolish excuse or some unwise and just really, for lack of a better word, just bad arguments and giving the same storyline about Lagos and Tinubu and who he's trained. No one cares who he's trained. Those that he's trained are in the same system, doing the same things he has taught them, because really they have not made any impact or anything. Kashim Shettima was out here. He must have been really hurt, right? He got the mic and obviously started stating as to, if you look at the people that Tinubu has trained and look at the other people that the other contestants have trained, where are they? And it's like, well, that is not the point. Okay, fine. If you want to say, what are the results that his trainees have achieved, I cannot say there's been any standout. If anything, they've either been part of the problem actively, or they just sunk in, became invisible, or as some would say, some became puppets, some became just, strategic tools to play chess with. Because at the end of the day, as a result of all this, he has come out to say that it is his turn, because he, as he claims, is responsible for putting people in seats of power. And so as a result of all that, he believes that it is his turn. So would you then say his training was for the good of the people or for the end goal that he wanted to achieve? Now, of course, given the fact that PDP is literally running their mouth a lot, and really they have a right to. They haven't been in government, but then obviously they do not have a right to, because when they were in power, it was still very, very bad. They didn't do anything else. They just have the upper hand of the fact that they can really make strong arguments against the APC, and really the APC cannot defend itself. What can it say? And if the APC tried to defend itself, it would literally insult Nigerians' perception. It would literally just confirm that these people are so heartless, and there are so many questions that need to be asked. And so, yes, especially with regards corruption, because PDP is out here with Daniel Bwala obviously talking about unaccounted transactions and unaccounted funds. And so it's like, so if they plan to get into office, and if they're in office, would they go after these individuals they've attacked? Because it's the same line of argument the APC used when it was competing against the PDP. And when they got in power, did they actively try to hold accountable the past seat holders in PDP's regime at the time, in Jonathan's presidency? They didn't. In fact, they made their own. So really, you can really say APC and PDP are literally the same party, because what would happen is they do the same things. The only difference is their names. In fact, the party supporters, the members, literally, as you know from the camping, they jump from one party to another. They literally stand for the same thing. It's just the names that are different. And so this, because again, really what they're doing is what they've always been doing, and their strategy is to pretend or give the image of competition and go at each other, go back and forth at each other, and hoping that, we would think, oh, wow, they're really competing. I mean, they're the best of actors, you can really say. The real Nollywood is in Nigerian politics. I tell you that for sure. I mean, it's in this same presidency, people were sleeping or falling asleep or fainting in meetings, and also some were even crying as we don't have the capacity. And then you have, during the heat of COVID, and they had meetings, everyone wearing masks, an individual comes and puts his hand in another individual's mouth and starts to open it because the individual started falling asleep. It's crazy. It's only in a House of Assemblies you'd see fights, you'd see that things are being mobbed. I mean, you can name it. Nigeria is a case. And so, again, PDP state facts, but then PDP, APC are the same. And secondly, they have the upper hand, PDP, to make arguments against APC, but they don't have the upper hand because they are as bad as APC, and they have been. So put what you think about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.